If you're looking for ways to eat healthier food and save on your grocery bill, one of the ways to do that is can fresh produce. And today we're going to can up some tomato sauce with the tomatoes from our garden. It's actually quite an easy process, and this won't be a very long video. So stick around to see how it's done, and maybe you want to try this yourself. I believe as I'm making this video, we are at the midpoint of September and the temperatures are well in the 80s and expected to be in the mid to upper 70s yet next week. But despite those warm temperatures, the gardening season is pretty much over. Got some red cabbage filling out and we'll be picking that shortly. Only a couple pepper plants left. We're getting a few more peppers off from that and we're freezing some right now. Squash is done, that's got to come out. Sunflowers are filling out and the birds are picking away at them already as the seeds are starting to develop. Corn, of course, was a total disaster. The raccoons ate all of that. I've canned about all the tomatoes I can. I don't need many more, so I decided the other day when I picked a bunch of tomatoes to make some sauce. I started out with 17 pounds, 3 ounces of tomatoes that I washed in the sink, transferred over to the cutting board in a bowl, cored and quartered, and weighed up as I went. Transferred them to my large cooking kettle where I will cook them down for about 20 minutes. I have the tomatoes cooking on medium heat in the big kettle. I won't start the 20-minute timer until they're partially cooked down and start simmering. The ones on the bottom are getting soft, and stir frequently to push the bigger ones down to the bottom until we have them all in a liquid form. And start the timer. The tomatoes have now cooked down to a point where it's pretty much liquid and it is simmering vigorously, so I've turned the heat down to lower side and set the timer for 20 minutes. And in 20 minutes we'll start processing. Our objective here is to get them soft enough to start running through the processing mills to get the seeds and skins removed and get us down to just a pulpy material to make the sauce from. The tomatoes will have to go through a long simmering process to reduce the liquid by about half to get them to the consistency we need for making sauce. And as always, during the process I have hot soapy water ready to keep things clean as I'm going along, because I need this island space when I start doing the processing. So that's been all wiped down clean. Hot soapy water. And the lids have been washed. They'll be rinsed. And again, as with all the other canning processes, put in a hot water bath about 180 degrees until they're ready to use. And always remember to stir occasionally so nothing sticks to the bottom. Tomatoes have simmered down for about 20 minutes. I'm going to let them cool a little bit before I go ahead and start processing them. Tomatoes have cooled down quite a bit now. It's been about an hour or so since they were simmered. And now we're going to start the process of extracting the pulp from the tomatoes and getting it separated from the skin and the seeds. And we're going to do that with a strainer device here. This one happened to be, again, my mother's. She used on the farm. Pretty simple. I just take a stainless steel cup, put some of the tomatoes in the strainer. The juice already starts to run out of the bottom. I like to keep a dish on the side so I don't slop the counter up. I find with this method I can apply more pressure. Seems to be easier to get all the juice extracted from the skins and from the seeds here. Transfer the liquid to my stainless Dutch oven, and we'll keep repeating that till the tomatoes have all been processed, and then we will cook that down to about half of its current volume. I also have this style of processor, and I'll show you how that works. I normally wouldn't use it because it's just to me, a bigger mess to clean than the other one, but this is another way to do it. Transfer your tomatoes into this. When you're done, you end up with the same result. Get the mash out of here, and you've got more juice. Here is what we have left for pulp. I would say we maybe have about 2 quarts of waste left out of all those tomatoes. The Dutch oven is just about full, plus we've got a little extra left over here in this glass bowl. So we're going to start cooking this down, and I'm going to put the heat very low at the point where I would be simmering this. I don't want to bring it up too fast because I don't want to scald anything on the bottom. We're going to let that come up to temperature and start simmering with the cover off to start taking the moisture out of here till we reduce this to about half of the volume it is right now. And then as it starts reducing, I'll add this other juice periodically to it till that's all used up. And when we're done, we will have sauce. It's up to temperature and simmering nicely. Now we'll just leave it sit like this for a while and come back and see how we're doing. And after cooking all afternoon, we now have tomato sauce. Next step will be to can it. It got a little too late in the day yesterday to finish this process, and that would be getting the tomato sauce put into jars and into the canner and canned so we can set them out to cool and put them away. What I had to do this morning was reheat the tomato sauce. I had put it in a smaller pan last night just to get it in the refrigerator, and it was easy to heat up this morning. Did that on the stove on really low heat so as not to burn it. And since I had washed the jars yesterday and I didn't need them, I had to re-sterilize them, and I did that simply by putting them in the canner in the hot water bath to steam, because we want 2 things. We want them sterilized and we want them hot before we put this hot tomato sauce in there, because before you can that sauce you have to make sure it is heated up. So the jars are ready. I have a stainless steel cup to transfer the material into the jars and a funnel. I'm going to turn the canner up so that it starts to heat. We're going to put a tablespoon of lemon juice in each pint that we do. I don't know how many pints I'm going to get here. I'm guessing 5 to 6 pints. So I'm only going to put lemon juice in 5 of them to start with, and we'll see where we end up. And we're going to fill each of these to about a 1/2 inch from the top. I'm just a touch shy on this last one. So we ended up with 4 pints out of the tomatoes we made. I had estimated maybe 5 to 6 pints, but we cooked this down probably a little further than I needed to. So it's a little on the thick side. Now what I'm going to do, since it was water that we evaporated out of here, I'm going to just add a touch of water to this one with the measuring cup. Hot water, just so I've got a full jar. Stir that up a little bit. Have the lids that were in the hot water bath sitting on the stove to make sure they are sterilized. I'm going to take paper towel and make sure that the tops of each of these jars are completely clean so that we get a good seal. I'll only need 4 lids, so I'll get those out. Put them on a clean paper towel so they can dry off. Another clean paper towel, I'm just going to pat those off, help get the water off of the sealing area. Now we will set those on. We have our water bath boiling. Because I only have 4 pints instead of the 7 that would normally go in there, I don't have enough water now because I only filled it half full. So I'm going to add water to this, and it'll take a little bit to get it boiling again. I'm going to set my jars in there anyway. And again, I'm going to stagger those around the outside to keep the balance on that basket while it's sitting here. Lower it in. Make sure I have enough water over the top. I need a little bit more water because I need about 1 inch of water. Going to bring this back to a boil, and once it gets to a boil, let them sit in the boiling water for about 35 minutes. When the 35 minutes is up, take them out and cool them. The 35-minute timer has gone off, so we will take the cover off here and pull these jars up out of the water bath. Again, one more time, be very careful here because this is boiling water. Don't ever forget that, and these jars are hot. Take your jar lifter. Carefully take the jars out of the water bath. And the next step is to move these jars over to the cooling area. Hard part's done. All we have to do now is wait for these to cool off and for each of the jars to seal where the cover plinks down and the vacuum pulls it down. Put a label on there and put them in storage. The sauce got a little thick this time, but that's all right. When we go to use it, we can always thin it out with adding a little bit of water to it. I'm disappointed I only got 4 pints out of that 17 pounds of tomatoes. You don't get the same kind of yield you would with tomato juice or if you're just canning tomatoes. If you enjoyed today's video, please click like and subscribe to our channel and comment, if you would please, on anything you'd like us to do in the future, things you'd like to see us change, or if you just enjoyed today's video, things you liked about it. Helps us develop our channel and do a better job bringing things to you that you like to see. So with that wraps up this year's garden harvest series. We really don't have anything else to process from the garden except sunflower seeds, and we might pick those off later when they're mature, and we save those for the winter for the squirrels and the birds. So with that, I thank you for watching, and until next time, take care.